Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Wow, how is your day going? I trust we're all having a good day so far. Yes, and welcome everyone that is here with us this afternoon, this glorious afternoon in the beautiful city of Port Harcourt in Rivers State, Nigeria. I welcome us once again. This is Growth Habits with Ngozi Onwucholoba, your personal guide in the journey of growth. Your personal guide. I am ready to take you by the hand and we go on the journey together. I would not abandon you halfway. We will get to that end that we are seeking together. So welcome once again. Even those that will watch this on the replay, welcome. I'm so glad to have you here. I'm so glad, so happy that you chose to spend your afternoon or your morning, depending on where you are, or your evening, whichever one it is, with me today. So once again, this is Growth Habits with Ngozi Onwucholoba. Every Tuesday, right here, Facebook, 12 noon, every single Tuesday. So today we agreed was going to be our question and answer session, just a time for us to talk to each other, ask questions, get answers. I'm sure I do not have all the answers. Maybe someone who is joining would have the answer to the question, but the idea is for us to just relate, interact this afternoon. Yeah, so welcome once again. I will do a recap, as we usually do, of all the things that we have discussed so far, of all the topics that we have touched. And you can ask questions from any of those topics, or you can ask a question that, is just from your experience, or whatever question you want to ask me today, or whatever thing you want to find out from me today. It could be a question, it could be a comment, it could be something you just want to understand better, anything. Let's just have fun this afternoon. Let's just interact this afternoon. That is all. Sorry, just a minute. Yes, that is all we are here for. I don't know what my laptop is trying to do to me. So, yes. Welcome once again. How is it where you are? Is it sunny? Is it threatening to rain, like it's threatening to rain over here in Port Harcourt? Port Harcourt is like, it rains every time, all year long. We don't even know any longer when is our rainy season, when is the dry season, whatever. All we know is that if you're going out, just put an umbrella in your car or hold an umbrella somewhere, because you'll be surprised that you'll head out and there is rain. Okay, so as I said, today is our question and answer session. Whatever questions you have about growth, about the journey of growth, please bring them along this afternoon. Give me 1 second. Let me just change a setting here. Okay. All right. So yes, here we are. And let me do a recap, as I said, of the things that we have been looking at for the past 11 sessions. We started with just a basic definition of growth. What is growth? And, we looked at it and we agreed at the end of that session that growth is a process. Yes, it is advancing, it's moving forward, it's taking a step at a time, but it is a process. It's not something that comes to an end. You don't grow and you have grown. No, you have to keep growing. That is why it's a journey. You have to keep doing it. And it's something you do intentionally. We're not talking about growth now in the sense of like a human being grows, or you plant a tree, or you plant a flower and it just grows. But even those ones that look like they're automatic, there's still a process to it. If you don't feed the human being, it does not grow very well. If you don't feed the plant, water it, give it access to sun or whatever are the conditions that it needs, it will not grow. Okay, so that was our very first session. And the second session, we talked about the mindset that is needed for you to truly grow. Because, we are told that a fixed mindset, that is a mindset that is just, no, this is it. I can't do much about it. This is my life. These are the characteristics I was born with. This is the things I know. There's nothing much I can do about it. That mindset can never help you grow. So you need a mindset that is open, willing to learn, always willing to learn. Very, very important for you to grow. Okay, so the third session, we talked about the habits that are necessary for you in order for you to grow. The personal habits. So now these habits are personal. That was the important thing that we took away from that session. They are personal to you. And for you to fix those habits, you actually need to know who you are. You have to understand you completely. And then you would know the habits that fit you, that are more aligned to you, and you can now apply those habits for you to grow. There are so many habits that lead to growth. There's no one size fits all. So you have to tailor it to yourself. In the fourth session, after we talked about habits, we now talked about your circle of friends, the people that surround you, the people that are around you. And we agreed that you need to have two basic types of people really around you for you to be able to grow. You need to have people who are going on the same journey as you are, who are probably at the same place you are and are heading in the same direction as you are. And you need to have people whose present is the future you're trying to get to. You need to have those two basic sets of people around you for you to truly grow, because each of them would be able to ginger you, push you, motivate you to grow. Okay, that was our fourth session, I believe. Yeah. And our fifth session, we talked about measuring growth, knowing how far you have gone, being able to say, oh, I've moved from here to there, being able to say I've made some progress or not. And we agreed that to do this, you need to have some data. You need to be able to keep record of what you are doing, keep record of where you are, keep record of where you want to get to, so that you will know how close you are or how far you are from where you're heading to. And in our sixth session, we talked about managing inputs and outputs. And we agreed that, and we focused on basically, first of all, on rest as an input. And we agreed that most of us, we don't rest. Both physically, spiritually, mentally, emotionally, we do not rest. But when you don't rest, it affects your ability to produce the outputs that you're struggling for, the outputs that you're trying to, achieve, the things you're trying to do. When you don't have sufficient input in the like rest, as we said, you will not be able to achieve what you need to achieve. Many of us were sick. We're going through some health challenges because we're not resting. It's not even because it's not the devil, it's not any of those things. It's not your village people. Most times it's our inability to rest, our inability to take in inputs that help us produce the output. So we just keep giving until the vessel is empty. All right, that was our sixth session. Our seventh session, we talked about coming out of your comfort zone, and we agreed that nothing grows in the comfort zone. As long as you remain where you are comfortable, remain where you are used to, you don't take any steps, you don't take even the slightest risk, you don't open yourself up just a little bit, you're confined to what you're comfortable with. There is no way you can grow. You will just remain where you are, going around in circles and achieving nothing. So much activity, but no achievement coming out of all that activity. So please, I hope we am audible. Let it not be that I've just been talking to myself and no one is hearing me. I hope I am audible this afternoon. Please let me know if you can hear me. Let me know if you can hear me. And Also, let me even know where you are listening from. Yes, let me know where you are listening from. If you're here, our 8th session, we talked about your blind spots. And we said you need to identify your blind spots. And your blind spots are basically the weaknesses, your shortcomings. And it's not just weaknesses and shortcomings, but it's those ones you're not able to see, you're not aware of, the ones that you're not able to identify yourself. Those are your blind spots. And we did agree that we should get someone who is objective, someone who can tell us the hard truths, someone that can ensure that they are being very objective to assess us and tell us what our blind spots. And it is, yes, once you welcome Comfort, glad to have you here. Welcome so much. So we agreed that you need to get someone to do that assessment for you. Someone that knows you, that has dealt with you, but that is able to tell you the hard truths, so that you can know the areas you need to change, the areas you need to adjust, the areas you need to, make some amendments. Okay, so that was identifying our blind spot. That was our 8th session. Okay, our 9th session, we talked about learning from people who inspire you. And we talked about the fact that many of us, we have people who inspire us. So many. We have people, both people who are in our sphere of influence and maybe people that we don't even really have direct contact with, but something about them inspires us. The problem is that most times we don't learn from these people. We don't learn from these people. We just follow their lives, we just follow the hype, and that is all. We truly don't know anything about them, actually. We don't know their story, we don't know what they've been through, we don't know how they got to where they got to. So we need to learn from those people that are inspiring us, whose lives inspire us, by finding out just a little bit about them. Okay, so that was our 9th session. Yes, 9. The 10th session, we talked about learning how to deal with difficult people. And I remember that we discussed that everywhere you are, at every level of your journey, there are difficult people. Maybe not the same kind of difficult people you will meet where you were on step 1 or level 1 of your journey. It's not that same type you will meet when you are in step 2 or level 2 of your journey. But the point is, if you do not learn how to deal with the difficult people you meet in level 1, when you get to level 2, you will meet the same people. You get to level 3, you will meet them again until you learn how to deal with them. So we agree that we need to learn how to deal with difficult people. And one of the best ways to deal with difficult people is to try and understand what makes them difficult. Try to put yourself in their shoes. Have empathy, not sympathy. Empathy with them. Understand their situation, understand their circumstances, and then show them love. Mike Gopeni, welcome. You have been one of our regular followers here. I think you were here from the very first class. Welcome. So glad to have you today. How is also Favor Joshua? Welcome. I'm so glad that you chose to spend your afternoon with me today. I trust that where you are good. Trust that you're having a good day. You're having an awesome day, glorious day. Because, I think, was it yesterday or Monday? Yes, I put up something. And I said that life you're looking for, that happiness you're looking for, it doesn't find you. You have to make it. You create that life you want. You create that happiness you're looking for. You create the joy that you're looking for. It doesn't just come. It's not automatic. You have to create it. And even for those of us that are Christians, even the Bible tells us that you have what you say. So it's the one, if you don't say anything, what would you expect to have? There's nothing to have. So I'm sure you're having a glorious day. If you say you're having a glorious day, you will have a glorious day. If you say you're having a good day, you will see that things begin to align to give you that good day. So we were talking about, oh wow, so many people have joined now. Ebele, thank you so much, Ebele Dioka, thank you for joining us. Wow, my big boss from years ago, Mr. Neil Bagnus, thank you for joining me today. I'm so glad to have you here with us. Welcome once again. So I was talking about dealing with difficult people before I digressed just a little bit. So dealing with difficult people, and I said that if you don't learn how to deal with the difficult people you meet today at this level of your journey of growth, you've not learned how to deal with them, you've not, moved past whatever it is that is the difficulty they are bringing. By the time you get to your next level, you will meet those people again, or similar people. It might not be the same person, but that same characteristics or that same thing that made that person difficult will be repeated until you learn how to deal with it. That is when the next level, because truly, whatever level we are, we will meet difficult people. There is no level you get to and difficult people disappear from your horizon. No, they will always be there. They will always be there. So we do need to learn how to deal with them. And in our 11th session, we talked about letting go of the past. And truly, that session was even personally for me so healing. Personally for me, was so healing, because like I told us that day, I realized that I still carried quite a bit from a particular incident in my past into my present, and it was an unconscious carrying. It's not even, I was not aware of it. It's not as if I knew that I was carrying this load, that I was carrying this weight. No. It was in the process of discussing with my mentees that I realized that even as I was talking, I was still carrying a particular load with me. So we must learn to get rid of the past. Drop it. It's not easy, but it is doable. Because if it is whether people will do things that will hurt you, they will do. They will do. There is nothing that will make them not to do. There will always be one person, or that one person, that will upset you. There will always be that one person that will want to step on your toes. There will always be that one person that pushes all the wrong buttons for you. There will always be. There will always be. But if you carry the hurt of whatever it is that was done to you, you carry the hurt over to your next level, to your next relationship, to your next encounter. So you have already started that next level, that next relationship, that next encounter on a negative, on a disadvantage. So that is why you must let go of the past. Let go of it. If you need to forgive, forgive. If you need to like I told us, if you need to write down whatever it is the person did to you on a piece of paper and then make that effort to burn that piece of paper, please do it. Go ahead and do it. Go ahead and do it. Burn it, if that's what you need to do. If you need to, I know some people write, what people do. You have journals, you have diaries, we write it. If you need to tear out that page of the diary, tear it out. Or did you do, digital? If you're digital like some of us and you write things on your phone, delete. That very act alone is so healing. It's so healing. But if you need, what you need is to talk about it, find someone to talk to, because we must let go of our past for us to move forward into the future. You can't carry the luggage, the baggage of the past into the future. It's too heavy. It's too heavy. It will slow you down. Whether we agree or we don't, it slows you down when you're carrying the baggage of the past into the future. Okay, so that is a rundown of all that we have discussed in these our 11 sessions that we have had on growth habits. Welcome, Ebere. Onwebunwa. Oh, welcome. So glad to have you from Abuja. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. How is the beautiful city of Abuja? I hope, well, I believe all is okay in Abuja. People did not have governorship election last last weekend. The rest of us that had governorship elections, we are still trying to recover from it. We are still trying to recover from it. So, yeah, so today, as I said, is a question and answer session. I had asked us to send questions ahead, but I didn't get any, so I'm assuming you're going to ask me the questions right here live. So here we go. What questions do we? Thank you so much, Bere. Well, you said well done. Thank you. I appreciate. So what questions do we have for me this afternoon? What do we want to know about? What questions do we have about the growth journey? Timi Ojo, welcome. I'm glad to have you here this afternoon. Thank you for joining me. So what questions do we have for me today? Well, let me address one question that, well, it's not this period I received it, but it's a question that I've been asked before while I wait to see the questions that we are going to ask me here today. One of the questions that people ask about growth in general is even how do I start? Where do I start from? I mean, I don't even know what to do. I don't even know what direction to go. I don't even know, where to really, truly start from. And when it comes to growth, there's really, like I said, there's no one size fits all. Truly, there is no one size fits all. Anybody that tells you that there's one answer that answers everything when it comes to growth, it's not so. Your growth is personalized to you. Your progress in the journey of growth is personalized to you. What signifies growth for me might be stagnation for you. What signifies stagnation to you might be growth to me. So it is completely a personal journey. Okay, I'm an accountant by training. I went to school, I studied accountancy. So I'm an accountant by training. And I worked as an accountant for years. Okay, I have a question, but let me just finish my line of thought. I worked as an accountant for years. So how did I now know that maybe my talent is not in accounting? It's to study myself. What do I enjoy doing? What are the things that if you wake me up in the middle of the night, and ask me to do it, I would gladly do it. Those are the things that points me in the general direction of the purpose that God has for me, truly, of the things that I am meant to do. And once you're able to discover that, that is where your journey begins. So what is it that if they wake you up in the middle of the night and ask you to do, you will gladly do? What is it that even when you're tired, you are tired to your bone, somebody asks you to do that thing, you would gladly do it without considering too much that I'm tired? Whatever that is where you start. That is where you begin the journey. Okay, so I believe that I answered that particular question. So Ebele says, how do you break out from being only a good listener to being a doer also? Okay, now I'm glad that you're a good listener, because many of us are not good listeners. But to move from listening to doing, once again, maybe this word, I actually think this word is overused, but it is important. Intentionality. You make up your mind. One, that is the beginning of whatever it is you are doing, is to make up your mind about it. Then to move from listening to doing, for me, what I do is I write first. I've listened, I've heard what somebody is saying, I've heard all the advice, I've heard all the motivational talk, what have you. I've gone to the seminars, I've heard all that is being said. How do I begin to do? I write. I sit down and I begin to write, what did I really learn? You know, sometimes when they ask us what you learned from a seminar or from a program, we just spew out some general thoughts. No. Those general thoughts, that is not truly what is going to take you from listening to doing. It's okay. Let's assume I went for a seminar and I learned that I need to, I don't even know what to use an example now. And I learned in that seminar that I need to be a more free person. I need to be more open to people. That is a general thought about that seminar. Now, to move from just listening and hearing these things, I begin to write down, what does it mean? What does it mean to be a more free person, more open person? What does it mean? By the time I write out what it means generally, now what does it mean to me to be a more open person? What will it take for me to move from being closed to being open? This is my own steps that I take personally. I begin to write it down. I note it down. By the time I note down all those, this is what it will take, this is what it will take, and I'll begin to ask myself, if I want to achieve all these things, how do I start? How long will it even take me first? Let's assume 1 month. Then I begin to set targets for myself. I write it down. No. I set targets for myself. You need to ensure, okay, yes, this is a very good example I chose now that I'm thinking about it. Being more open, being more friendly, being more, out there with people. Do you know that I set alarms on my phone to call people? Funny, but yes, because I realize that people see me as a very unfriendly person. Because one, I am just quiet. Generally, I am just quiet. It has nothing to do with any other person. Generally, I am quiet. Then two, not only am I quiet, I don't talk if I'm not sure. I don't join a conversation if I'm not sure. I will not put mouth, I will not contribute. And then I don't know how to call people on the phone. These 3 things. I'm still working on the third one. See this calling thing, I'm still working on it. But to help me, because I had actually written it down like it is a task. I had written it down as a goal that I must achieve. I had to begin to find ways. How do I now achieve this thing? So I assigned myself a task. Put alarm on your phone to call certain people. So when that alarm rings, I have to call. The phone is in my hand now, or the phone is near me for me to hear that alarm ring. So when the alarm rings, I pick up the phone, I call. Initially, when I call, I have nothing to say to the person because probably this person is not like my bestest friend. My bestest friend will understand why I didn't call. You understand? But the other ones that are maybe a little bit far removed from, they wouldn't understand why I didn't call them. So I put alarms on my phones. When it rings, I pick up the phone, I call the person. Have you seen that I've moved from listening to doing? I put it as a task for me. I did it the way, when you are in the office and they give you an assignment, you give yourself targets how to achieve that assignment. It's the same thing. It's the same way. It's the same thing. It's different. Give it to yourself as a goal. And then itemize the steps it will take. By the time you do this, you will see that you're moving from just listening to doing, because you're achieving one thing. Before you know it, you're achieving the next. Before you know it, you're achieving the next. And before you know it, you are doing those things that you want to do. Welcome, Constance Sago. Glad to have you here. This is Growth Habits with Ngozi. Thank you for joining me this afternoon. So, Ebere, I hope I've answered your question. At least I think I've given you an idea of how I personally face moving from listening, being a good listener, to doing. I assign it to myself as a task and I write it out as an assignment to myself. What are the steps I need to take to move from here to here? What are the steps I need to take to be able to do this or that? And then I follow up. I monitor myself, I grade myself, I mark myself the same way I would do it if it was a job that I was given. Yeah, so that is how I personally move from listening to doing. And I believe you can help any other person when you take it as a task. You will most probably achieve it. You will most probably move out from being a listener to being a doer of whatever it is. Okay, I hope I answered that question well. Ebere, I hope I answered your question very well. Is there any other question for me this afternoon? Who else has a question, please? Let's have the questions so that we can deal with them. In the next 10-15 minutes, we should be out of here. So any other questions for me? What else do we want to know about? Like, from the beginning, I said that the things I share are mostly things I've experienced. I try not to share theory only with us, because theory only that have not been tested, well, I don't know how much it helps us. But the things that I have tried, and I can say, yes, I tried this and it worked, those are the things that I will share with us. So please, more questions, so that we can deal with them together. Any other questions? Anybody else have something they want to find out about? This thing I shared about writing things down, do you know it goes across board. Whatever area you want to deal with, whatever thing you're trying to work on in your life, it helps. You can apply that to it and you will achieve it. Okay, I have another question. Charity says, how can one break out of certain habits practically? It depends on the habit. It depends on the habit. There's truly no, like I said, no one size fits all. No one size fits all. But the very beginning of breaking out of any habit, especially for you to want to break out of it, is assumed is a negative habit. Know that you have that habit first and agree and accept that you need to come out of it. You need to break out of it. That is the beginning. And that beginning applies across board for every habit. For every habit, it applies across board. Know first that, see this habit, I have it. See this habit is negative, is bad. This habit, I need to break out of it. Once you have done these first two things, then the steps that follow actually now depends on the habit. Let me give us a personal example. I noticed that I would spend hours scrolling through status on WhatsApp, and it will eat hours into my time. So I realized that this is not a good habit. There's nothing wrong with looking at people's status, but when you spend hours just looking at people's status, it is a problem. So I realized that I had a problem. I needed to break out of this habit. So what did I do? First of all, initially I just wanted to do it cold turkey, as in stop, don't look at people's status, full stop. It didn't work because I would only maybe do it, social media addiction. I would only do it once or twice. The third day, I'm back to the whole thing. So I knew that it's not something that would just stop just like that. It's something that I had to do step by step. Once again, because I am used to writing things down. Maybe not paper and pen, but on my phone. I am so used to writing everything that's happening around me, with me, down. So I took out my notepad and I wrote on the heading, curing the WhatsApp status watching. That is how I wrote it, honestly, just like that. Curing WhatsApp status watching. So I began, as I wrote it down, I thought to myself, how can I actually stop this? What do I do? I agreed with myself that, okay, I can't stop it like that. Let me start by restricting the statuses that I can see. So I started restricting the statuses that I can see. I cannot see everybody's status, maybe 3, 4 people. However, I restricted the number of status that I could see first. So you find out that maybe it's only 5 that are showing for me. I will look at those 5. And from that, restricting what I can see, I thought to myself, is it not possible for me to teach myself to watch only 3 status and close the phone? Is it not possible? Do I have to now restrict? I will miss, maybe somebody has an important status that they put off, but because I've restricted it, I won't see it. So I told myself, had a discussion with myself, wrote it down, Ngozi, every day you will look at 5 statuses. Once it's above 5, I have to just tell. In fact, it was war. Let me tell you, it was war. It was war. So from restricting the status to just maybe I can only see so many people's status, maybe just family and friends, I now wrote it down. I will only look at 5 status every 3 hours or something. I can't remember exactly now unless I open my notepad and check. So every 3 hours, I can only check status every 3 hours. Once again, set up alarm on my phone. Once I have looked at the 3 statuses, I set alarm to when the 3 hours will be up. That is the next time I'm allowed to check status. I did that. And before you know it, right now as I am now, I can stay days, weeks, I've not checked a single person's status. And when I want to check, I select who I am checking their status. Once I've checked those ones, off I go. Because over time, I've now become used to it. I conquered it on myself. I didn't just deprive myself of it. The first thing I tried, the restricting, was trying to deprive myself. And it didn't work. So I basically faced it, put it in my front, status, once every 3 hours. You are there, but I can only look at you once every 3 hours. And that was what I did. Until now, even if the status is 100 showing, I choose the ones I want to look at. Once I finish, I drop it. But if your own is more than just WhatsApp status and full social media addiction, there are apps you can put on your phone that restrict how many hours you spend on each app. It can restrict how many hours you spend on Facebook, how many hours you spend on Instagram. It restricts all that. And once those hours are gone, you can't open those apps on your phone. So that is another thing you could try. Look for those apps. I can't remember the name right now, but if I remember, I will put it in the comment section. Look for those apps and put, if you can't, if your own addiction is like the whole of social media, not just WhatsApp, like was my own at that point in time. So the idea is not just to deprive yourself instantly, just take it away. Most times it doesn't work. It's to be able to expose yourself to it and still have the discipline to say no. So it's to develop that discipline that you need to work on. Welcome, Precious Uday. Yes, thank you very much. Thank you. I appreciate your good comments. So that is how I dealt with my own, and I believe that if you apply similar process to whatever habit it is, it will help you overcome it. Okay, step-by-step deprivation. Okay, that's a good way to put it. Yes, Charity. Step-by-step deprivation, that would work. You don't just go cold turkey. Most times, cold turkey does not work. I guess maybe it will work for some things, but most times, in most situations, when you go cold turkey, you just feel deprived. And we don't like to feel deprived. So that's another thing for like people who are trying to lose weight. When you restrict your diet and you say, I can never take ice cream, I can never take pizza, those things, when you see ice cream, it looks more delicious. When you see pizza, it's like, my God. I have not seen pizza that looks like this, because you're trying to just deprive yourself of it. But when you tell yourself that I can only take ice cream once in, let's say, 2 weeks, you're still taking ice cream, but you're just restricting it. I can take it once in 2 weeks. And like that, before you know it, ice cream is no longer a big deal. It's not as if you still love it, you still want to take it, but it's no longer a big deal. You are used to taking it once in a while, so it's not a big issue. Step-by-step deprivation. I like that name you gave it. Yes, so that is basically how to extricate yourself from most habits. Yeah, I hope I answered your question, Charity. Just checking the time. So any other questions? We still have a few more minutes. Any other questions that we can tackle for us this afternoon before we call it a day? Do you have any other questions? Anybody have any questions to ask? Okay, yes, thank you, Charity. I'm glad that I was able to answer you properly and basically completely, I hope. Yes, thank you for that confirmation that I answered your question. So apply it to whatever habit you're trying to break from and let me know how it went. I would love to hear your story, your success story of how you overcame that habit by doing step-by-step deprivation. In fact, I've taken this name you gave it now, step-by-step deprivation. Okay, so any other questions that we can deal with before we call it a day? Let me check the time. I'm sure you're wondering why I'm checking time when I have watch. I don't know whether it happens to happens to you. It happens to me. I will wear a watch, and when I want to check my time, I check on my phone. The watch is working. It's not as if the watch is not working. But now, because my phone, I'm using it, I decide to use the laptop to check time. Yet I have a watch that is working. We have all moved so far away from watches. Watches have become jewelry. I don't know if it happens to you, but it happens to me. Watch has become jewelry that you just wear. I hardly remember to check time on my watch. So if that is also happening to you, tell me. Let me know whether I'm alone, whether I'm a weirdo. Whether I'm a weirdo that has a watch but doesn't check time on her watch. Any other questions that we can deal with before we call it a day this afternoon? Remember, this is Growth Habits with Ngozi Onwucholoba, and the idea is for us to form the habits that will help us grow throughout life, not at a particular point only, but throughout life. We'll be able to keep on growing. As we get to the next level, we begin to apply the habits to get us to the next level and get us to the next level, and we just keep on growing. A continuous process that doesn't really end, because there's no end to learning, so there's no end to growth. This is Growth Habits every Tuesday. Remember that in the month of April, we'll try and talk more on growth in your business for those that are in business. And probably by May, we'll talk about growth in career. But in the month of April, we'll talk about growth in your business. I'm trying to arrange a couple of people that will come on and talk to us about how they grew in their business. Because I'm not a business person yet, per se. Let me not say yet. I'm not a business person per se, yes. I've always been a career person. I've always worked. It's just recently that I've not been working. But I will bring on people that are career businessmen or businesswomen that can give us clue to how they grew their businesses, and we can also apply such in our own business. Welcome, Miebaka. I hope I got your name right. I'm feeling I pronounced it wrong. Victor Taria. Welcome. Nice to have you here this afternoon. So do we have any other questions for me? If not, okay, we have barely 5 more minutes, and we will come to the end of this session. I try to keep it between 30 minutes to 45 minutes. And I'm extending this by 5 minutes because I took like 5 minutes to do the recap. I took quite a long time to do the recap today while waiting for people to come on and ask their questions. So we have 5 more minutes. If you have any questions, you want to ask me anything, go ahead. Or maybe you're watching on the replay, please put your questions still in the comment section. I will still answer them. I will still answer the questions once I read your comment. Yep, so any other questions? Any other questions? If we don't have any other questions, I'm just giving room because sometimes I know it delays before the message comes up, before the comment shows. Now, our network is beautiful, wonderful network system that we have. So if we have no other questions, I will remind us that this is Growth Habits with Ngozi Onwuchiloba, your personal guide on the journey of growth. And this growth is in every aspect. Growth in your personal life, growth in your career, growth in your business, growth in your spiritual life, growth all around. The principles that we learn, the principles that we talk about apply across board. And they are tried and tested principles. It's not just theory. No, they're not just theory. I try my best as much as possible to pick out those things that I have tried, those things that I have experienced, and that is what I bring to us. I'm careful not to just come and talk theory everywhere, I'm careful not to do that so that we truly learn from them. There are practical tips, practical things that we can do. Okay, so since we have no other questions, I think we can call it a day. Our next program is on Tuesday next week, 12 noon, right here on Facebook. And the topic, should I tell us? Or should I just keep it to myself and surprise us as usual? I think I will give us the topic. The topic will be visualize your success. Visualize your success. That is a step in the journey of growth. Visualize your success. Remember that what you are able to see, you will have. That which you are able to perceive, you will surely have it. But if you are not able to see it, it will elude you. So thank you all once again for joining me this afternoon. My name is Ngozi Onwuchiloba and this is Growth Habits. I am your personal guide in the journey of growth. I will take you by the hand and lead you on this journey. And remember that I'm also going on this journey along with you. We might be going at different levels, but we are all going on this journey. So thank you all very much for joining me this afternoon. I can't wait either for the next session. So thank you very much for joining me this afternoon. See you all next week, Tuesday, on Growth Habits with Ngozi Onwuchiloba. 12 noon is the time right here on Facebook Live. Thank you and have an awesome day. Thank you. Bye. Oh, okay. Said Mike, you said that's interesting. The topic, very, very interesting. Just prepare. Come with a mind to learn. Prepare for that topic next week, Tuesday. Yes. Thank you all very much. All right. Have a good rest of the day. Bye.